Hi, I'm Mike with House on the Mend, and I bought the cheapest drywall lift on Amazon. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to assemble it and how to use it, and we'll review it together. So let's get started.
House on the Mend.
Now, I'm not paid nor sponsored by the manufacturer of this drywall lift. I bought it with my own money. In fact, it doesn't even have a brand name listed anywhere in the listing or on the box, but it's got a lot of the same features that you're used to seeing. These two arms here go out or retract for added support on the ends of the drywall. The head here pivots so you can get right into the right spot. And once you get into the right spot and you want to start lifting the panel, this head rotates up and if you want, locks into place. And then this cool captain's wheel is going to make you feel like Captain Jack Sparrow. But it raises the lift for us. So let's cut over to the box as it was when I received it, and I'll show you how to assemble it. All right, the first step is to extend the tripod legs out. So you're supposed to be able to push this down in some fashion like that. There we go. So this little ring gets pushed down. And then, there we go. So right here is called the backstop. So there's a little kind of a U-shaped piece with a couple rubber feet, and if you flip that down, it's supposed to prevent the tool from moving that way. I'm going to leave it down right now while we assemble it. Now you see this V-shaped groove right here? That is where the frame assembly goes. And it's the biggest, heaviest piece in here that has the wheel attached to it. All right. That just slides into the groove. There. That's got to go really straight, otherwise it won't engage the top and the bottom of that V groove. I took the backstop off so I can spin this around and show you the next step, which is to attach the handle right here to the wheel. Now, there was a bunch of reviews saying that this unit didn't have the handle included. So let's look in the box. And thankfully, we have it. It's loose. It's not in a bag or taped to anything, so I could totally see how that gets lost in shipping. But there's a little bolt that's been welded right on here, and all you have to do is thread that in. It looks like this can be tightened with a large Allen wrench. But if you shimmy it around, it does thread in there just fine. Then there's a nut right here that you can tighten down to keep it from backing itself out, or you could just use some Loctite because you're not going to need to remove this. You just don't want it so tight that this little handle doesn't rotate around. All right, next thing we want to do is rotate this piece all the way down into place. There's this arm right here that locks it into its user place, or you can close it up like this to store it away. Now to show you how we're doing that, let me spin it a little bit more towards you. There. So you're supposed to be able to raise this up, which releases the wheel. You can see it starting to spin. And then rotate that all the way down and it clicks right into place. That was a lot easier than the directions made it sound. And then it's locked. Now this little spot right here has a clip that's holding the telescoping sections in place. We want to rotate that down and out of our way so that we can grab this piece here. It's got the two V-shaped grooves on it, and you want this little clip right here facing towards that section. All right, next thing we want to put in is the cross arms, and they are interchangeable. So we'll just grab one of the two. And there's only one way they go in. You can see this almost triangular shape that goes in. There is a piece of metal that's welded on here that's going to snap into place. But we set it down and pull it until we hear that snap. There. Now the directions don't mention these support bars at all, so I'm not sure what they call them, but if you go on to the Amazon listing, their video of the assembly shows that they go in just like this. There is a spring-loaded little $50 sized pin here. You pull out of the way, and then this guy slides right in. There's several holes on here for it to snap right into place. For storage, it'll go all the way in, just like that. Pretty cool. I'm going to pull it out to that first setting. Which I missed. It is very easy for this little spring-loaded tab to get off kilter like you see here. It just has to be pushed back towards the little hole and then it'll pop into place. And with that, assembly is complete. I'm not sure if this is supposed to pivot that much, but we'll see. Let's take a measurement on these outriggers here. At this first setting, they are a little less than 8 feet. So that's going to be some nice support out here on the ends of a piece of sheetrock. Keep in mind, you can slide these out further if you're working with larger pieces of sheet good. I currently can't get anything longer than an 8-foot piece around our little spot here in the basement. So the first thing I notice is that everything is a very loose fit. Nothing feels really secure. We'll see how good it works. I will say that being able to tilt and move things this way will be easy when you're trying to get into tight spots like the hallway we're going to test it with. But these individual bars, I don't see why those need to be so loose. And it's about what you would expect for the cheapest drywall lift on Amazon. All right, let's go over some bits of the functionality. First, when you're getting ready to load a sheet of plywood, there is a little buckle clip right here that you can move out of place, and that allows you to rotate down like this to load your sheet of plywood and transport it around. And then once you get into that spot where you're going to lift it, then you bring it up like this, and from underneath you can clip and lock that into place. If we rotate around here where we can see the wheel, we have just a simple wheel that is holding on to this cable. There's no rhyme or reason to how the cable is going to wind. There's no grooves or anything like that. In fact, as you can see in this picture, the cable is actually already kind of bound on itself, which I don't like to see, so I'm just gonna move that over a bit. All right, let's see what it's like to lift this guy. There we go. It's really easy, empty. We'll see what the mechanical advantage is with a full sheet of plywood, but we are already out of the camera screen and it is lifting with no problems at all. It is locked by this little handle here, so it feels pretty secure. Yeah, that's not bad. It's rickety back and forth. That'll probably go away once you get it all the way up into place. We'll show that here in a minute. To bring it down, we pull the handle up towards your face. That releases the wheel. And it comes all the way down. All right, pretty easy. Let's load a sheet of drywall. I've repositioned the camera over here where the sheetrock and the hallway where the ceiling is we are going to be installing is located. So as I stand in front of our lift, I will say that I have the backstop engaged, but as you can see in this picture, every wheel also has a brake on it. So if you come into any issues, you can press down with your foot on each of those brakes and give you more stabilization when you're loading. Now, speaking of loading, as I stand here, these little arms that I have to raise the sheetrock onto seem really high to me, but I measured them and they're actually only 3 feet. So that's not too bad when you're shopping around for possibly other drywall lifts. Maybe take a look and see what the loading height is. If it's lower than that, that might be a little bit easier on you, but let's give it a try before we criticize it. Now the front face, the usable face, needs to be loaded down on our lift because when we lift it up, of course, this back face is going towards our framing, or in our case, resilient channel. So I'm just going to pull this out a bit so it doesn't get stuck on that box. Then I'm going to tilt it up, put my hand down here. And there we go. Let's walk over and put it right on those catches. I feel like I'm about halfway. Let me reposition the camera. I want to show you something before we get moving. Now, I will admit Maverick is as cute as can be, but he's actually not what I was wanting to show you. He's laying down here with Daddy as I'm doing some work. What I did want to show you is this back wheel to those 2 front wheels is like 55 inches and is a little bit more if the wheels are pointing outward. So our hallway is 4 feet, 48 inches, so that's not going to work. This measurement right here is 45 inches, which is still pretty close, but that's going to be, of course, our best bet. So I'm going to need to turn our panel like this to get down this hallway. Let me disengage our little backstop and let's see what it's like moving this guy. I'm holding on to the wheel area. You can see my hand right there. It rolls really easy on our concrete floor and pivots back and forth when you run into an obstruction. Real easy, I like that. Maverick, you're not in a helpful spot, buddy. We are all the way down at the end of this tight hallway. Off camera, I did measure and cut out for our electrical boxes with just a standard sheetrock knife or saw. And I took the time to get this center piece right about as close to dead center as we can, so when it comes time to pivot the head up, we're in the best possible spot. So I'm back just a tiny bit from the end of the wall so that we're not bumping into that. I'm going to raise it up quite a bit and then just start kind of pivoting it into its final position, and we'll see how my cuts did. One thing I like about this brake, I've noticed that there's no clicking like you get into a certain spot and then it'll lock. It's like a wedge lock. So at any point on the wheel you stop turning, it locks right there. It's really nice not to try to get into a spot and then have it fall back down a little bit because it's locking into a gear. Now we can't just pivot it all the way over right here because this door is sticking a little bit proud of the framing. So we need to kind of hold it right here with one hand and raise it up a little higher with the other. But if you put your foot on this leg, you can do it. Now do you hear that popping? That is this cable bouncing off of itself. That's probably my biggest criticism so far, besides the assembly instructions, is this cable keeps popping, and it kind of gives you a jolt when it does it. There we go. All right, we're just inches away from having it in its final position and being able to hold it there while we get our screw gun. So I'm going to now take the opportunity to pull down our supports here, which is really easy. I have pushed the board all the way to its final spot up here into that wall, just like that. And we are ready to get the last little bit out of it. I still feel like I need to tilt it though. Otherwise it feels like it wedges. There we go. That's pretty good. Let's check. So this is my rigid cordless drywall screw gun. You purchase these strips of drywall screws. These ones are a little bit long for our purposes here, but they'll work nonetheless. So I want to be off of this wood here and into only the resilient channel. Good. Let's see how well a 48-inch piece of sheet goes on. About half of that and about half of that stopper when they're both collapsed in. Perfect. All right, well, I'm right here at a nice comfortable height to work. I'm going to measure out for that electrical box right there and cut it out. Let's see how stable it is for doing that. 29 3/4, 32 1/2. Dead center of where the box is 24 inches, so that means we go from 26 to 22. There we go. Okay, sweet boy, look out. That boy. Look out. Yeah. All right, I want to be fair to this product and also thorough in my review. It's really bothering me the way it pops because the cable's resetting. So as you can see in this picture, I lined up the cable really tight and cleanly to itself. Now let's see if we can get 3/4 of the way up or all the way up towards this HVAC duct, and if that fixes the problem or if it's just a part of its design. Nope, it did it again. So as you can see in this picture, it went and wrapped itself up cleanly all the way over to the side where the brake is, and then as it started coming back, it popped again off of itself. So there really is no way to solve that issue. It is integral to the original design. And bearing that con in mind, I'd have to say otherwise I am overall quite impressed with the quality and the function of this drywall lift. I paid $133 for it plus $25 for shipping as well as tax. That is the least expensive of all the ones I saw on Amazon. I also went to Home Depot's website and theirs started at around double that price. So for a home DIYer like me in this case, finishing out a basement, this is a great buy. If I am on a job site somewhere and this thing's going to be getting used all day, every day, well, then obviously it would pay to go with something higher in quality. But other than the other kind of ricketiness about it, it functioned great. None of that came into play when I got right to the spot and gave it that final crank to put that sheet in place, be it a 4-foot cutoff piece or a full-length 8-foot piece. It handled all of that really good. The wheels go back and forth and turn very smoothly. It is brand new. The wheel that is used to crank it up and down functions really good. Like I said in the review, I love the brake. So I would have no problems recommending this for home DIY use. So if you found this video helpful, will you please give it a thumbs up? It really helps the algorithms to start suggesting it to more viewers like you. Also, please consider subscribing. I am putting this video out 1 week before the actual video of how I framed in, insulated, and finished off this hallway that had these 2 large ducts of HVAC going through them. And if that kind of content interests you, there's a lot more of that to come. Now I'm going to leave a link for this exact drywall lift in the description below. Full disclosure, that will be an Amazon affiliate link. So if you click on it and end up making any purchase, it won't cost you a thing, but I do get a small reward at the end of the month. It helps to justify the time it takes to set up all these cameras and lighting to make these videos. Until next time, thank you for watching.